Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Our House 21, and I've just been playing around a little bit with my new project acquisition. As you guys can see in the background, I've got my new team associated Apex RTR car that I've started to dig into, and I just wanted to give a couple quick initial impressions. Now, first off, I went ahead and I already have binded it. I've already paired this guy with my Turnigy radio, and replaced the stock transmitter or stock receiver with this guy, and I've bonded it up just to kind of get an initial run impression of the vehicle. So it was a pretty straightforward process, and we'll go ahead and power this guy on. And all in all, this guy, does a pretty decent job. Okay, it also helps if I actually remember to set the radio to the right model. Alright. There we go. Alright, so it's like I said, pairing this thing wasn't too bad. I had to reverse the servo direction, but that's not that big a deal. But there's a couple things about this model that I'm already starting to have an issue with, and it's nothing that I can't solve, but it's just little things that you have to jump into. First off is they, by default, or by this thing comes with this really goofy setup for wheel nuts. So if you look here, it actually has a screw on here. I think this is it has a large screw here that you bolt the wheel on instead of the nice stock lug nut configuration that everybody else uses. So I guess this is one of those things that they figured will make it better for the novice user, but I just think it's weird. So that's going to have to come off. So I already have a solution for that. Switch over here. Example, my little toolbox. Just 1 second. So by looking, by doing a little bit of online research, I realized that these are 4mm. They're still 4mm connections, and I'm sorry, the lighting is kind of bad here, but these guys are still 4mm screws. But what I want to do is I went to my local hardware store and I picked up some 4mm metric just bolts like this. So I'm going to take out these screws that are currently in here and drive these guys in and use some red Loctite to basically fuse these guys in place. So they're going to be my new wheel studs. And then I want to come back with a hacksaw and chop off this to the right length. So then I'll be able to use a standard 4mm lug nut or a locking wheel nut, just like everyone else on the planet uses, and just going with my day. So that's mod number one. Mod number two, this car is going to be running on 3S LiPo battery packs. So this car uses this little system here where you have an adjustment screw that has a little hole in the top that you can screw in and out to set it up for the right height so you can have different size packs. Problem is, it doesn't go tall enough for my LiPo packs. So as you can see right here, its tallest setting is still too short. So I'm going to have to go in, I'm going to have to replace these screws. Well, I have two options. I can either rig up a completely custom new battery hold down, which isn't that big a deal, or I can replace these screws with some sort of alternate screw system. So I can go with something that's longer and then drill my own hole through it so I can put the lock pin in place, with a cotter pin, or I could just, come up with something completely different. Most guys secure their LiPos with Velcro straps. So I might just rig up some Velcro and call it a day. I haven't figured out my plan yet, but that's going to have to be another thing on my list. Next thing is this car just has the receiver just kind of sitting up here on the chassis brace. That's not a completely horrible bad thing, but I need real estate inside this vehicle because I'm going to be carrying an onboard GPS like I always do. So that GPS has to go somewhere. So just 1 second. So I'm going to be carrying, I've got a fleet of Garmin's just like this bad boy. So I don't want to buy a new one. So I'm going to have to figure out a mounting system to put this guy in here. Just like that. Well, I might do it like this. Or I might come up with like an alternate battery hold down method like for that right there. And then mount it to the top of there with Velcro like I've done in the past. Either way, I need to figure it out. But the good news is I've got plenty of clearance inside of here. The bad news is I might have to rejigger some things just in order to fit. And the last thing is I've got big aspirations for the power system. And I'm not sure if I want to be replacing this motor and ESC. And I'm not sure if the new units I'm putting in are going to fit down in those stock locations. So if they don't fit, and I have a feeling that they won't, then I might have to come up with something alternate as well. So in the past, what I've been able to do for this type of thing is just kind of make an elevated mezzanine. So but basically a high mounting structure where I can then set this thing to. And there's actually real estate on top of this servo here, you know, that I could probably rig up something. I could even put an elevated platform in now I think about it. So just tie in some points to the chassis like here, here, and here, and just basically make like a table on top of here and have hardware sit on. So I'm going to have to do some serious relocation inside the unit in order to make everything fit. But the good thing is that the new body sits on, it fits well. I'm going to have to do some trimming because it looks like the wheelbase of the car is slightly longer than what the body what the actual holes for the body are for. And I'll just show you that right here. It just drops right on, and in the rear I'm just going to have to trim this out just a little bit to give me some clearance, but it sits pretty well in the front. Let me line this up. There we go. Yeah, so it sits pretty well in the front. So yeah, all in all, it's not too shabby. So like I said, it's a work in progress. So this body needs to be painted, obviously, and then it's going to be fiberglass, and then it's going to get some extra other modifications as well, and you're going to see all that stuff coming up. But the goal for this guy is to be competitive with the rest of my speed running fleet. Now, how am I going to do that with a 10 scale car? You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out. All right, guys, remember the mantra: fly, fix, fly, break it, fix it, and do it all over again. This is Our House 21 signing out, and stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of new developments in the fleet. All right, peace.